the Twilight Zone to Black Mirror, The Outer Limits to Inside Number 9, Anthology series is what we're talking about today.
Ladies, gentlemen, geeks of all ages, you are now entering BJ Shea's Geek Nation. Welcome.
Hey guys, Chris Walker here, Uncle Chris on BJ and Migs in the Mornings. I was looking around the internet today and I saw how there's a new anthology series in the works right now. J.J. Abrams and Larry Cohen are getting together. They're collaborating to make this new anthology series, and it's going to be creepy thriller anthology series. This got me thinking about a lot of the other anthology series that I've really enjoyed over the years, and it turns out there's a lot of them. This is something that I have enjoyed for a really, really long time, ever since I used to watch The Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, and syndication back in the day. But there have been so many, many more of these series out there that I've watched, and it really got me thinking. I've really got a thing for these anthology series and the short story format, and the way that you don't have to follow a long thread over the course of a season or anything like that, and you just get like an hour of a story and they get in, they tell the story, and they get out, and that kind of quick storytelling that can be really, really rewarding and really, really great if you have a short attention span, or even if you don't, if you just like to be entertained with a full story encapsulated in one episode. That's what the anthology series is all about, and I'm really, really excited that there's a new one coming out, especially with J.J. Abrams on board. Larry Cohen too. I mean, if you don't know who Larry Cohen is, and I will admit that I had to look him up, and then I realized that I know almost his entire body of work, and I never put that together in my mind. He's written and produced some of my favorite things over the years. The Maniac Cop series, if you haven't checked it out, it's a lot of fun. It's super schlocky, but it's super amazingly good and just super entertaining. It's Alive back in the day, which was a really scary one for me when I was a kid. Very nice young couple have a baby, and the baby's a monster who tends to get a little murdery when it's scared, and well, you know, bad things happen. That's what happens when you have a monster baby that kills people. But also The Stuff. If you haven't seen The Stuff, go. Stop watching me do my ridiculousness and go watch The Stuff. This was one of those horror movies that I saw on late night HBO in the 80s. Changed my world forever. This Stuff is this amazing, it's almost like The Blob. I don't want to go too far down this because I want to talk to you about anthology shows today, but I realized that as soon as I started talking about The Stuff, my mind's gonna explode if I don't tell you a little bit more about The Stuff. Here's the elevator pitch. A guy discovers some stuff bubbling up out of the ground, for some reason tastes it, decides that it tastes very good, a little bit like an ice cream treat kind of a deal, markets it, sells it to the world, and well, spoiler alert, it eats you from the inside out and turns you into more of the stuff. I loved it. It was great. So, anthology shows. So, the new anthology show is in the works right now. Abrams and Cohen have already got a season and a half written, as far as I know, from what I read online. And I think that's fantastic. I think, obviously, Cohen is a very talented writer. Abrams, of course, a producer, director. Everything that he does, we know he does good work. I'm very excited about what's going to come out of that collaboration. You think back to the other anthology shows. I mentioned a couple of them at the top. Twilight Zone, obviously. The Outer Limits. I used to watch Tales from the Dark Side. The Hitchhiker was another one that was on HBO. And Tales from the Dark Side, of course, a little bit more on the horror side of things. The Hitchhiker was a little bit more of a thriller, and I watched the heck out of both of those things. Some of the newer shows that are really great out there, we've talked about Black Mirror on the show before. I watched another British one called Inside Number 9, which is really good. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Really, really good performances and great storytelling and great writing in that one. And the other brand new one that's just out this year, Dimension 404. I like how they took the idea of computers and everything and said, oh, you know what, error code 404, you know, and well, now here's the weirdness that happens in Dimension 404. It's a really good one as well. One that I never did watch much of when I was a kid, and I know that a lot of people around my age or slightly younger than me, Are You Afraid of the Dark? And Goosebumps, for that matter. I think I was just a little bit too old for those when they came on TV, and I was watching, while I was watching other things. Obviously, I was watching The Hitchhiker and Tales from the Dark Side. But those are two other excellent examples of the format, and very well done and very much beloved by everyone I talk to who has seen them, says that they are really great, and I should definitely go back and check them out. But I wonder if they wouldn't be a little bit too sort of young for me, but I don't know. As I understand it, very scary and scared the heck out of people when they were kids. So I might actually have to go and check that out again and see if there's something in either of those two shows that's for me. If you've seen them, let me know. Leave a comment down below and tell me that I'm crazy and I just need to hurry up and watch these things because they're that good. That's what I want to hear about. I mean, that would be fantastic if I found a couple of new shows with, you know, several seasons of short stories and horror and thriller and drama and all that. That would be fantastic. I do love that format, and I've mentioned it at least a couple of times in this video already so far. I love that format. Get in, tell the story, get Get out, make it interesting, make it fun. Rod Serling was the master of that, and he did it very, very well, and he hired people, some of the greatest science fiction writers ever, working on that show, and also launched off their careers to write for other television programs, to write movies. All of this stuff because of what Rod Serling was doing, because of his vision. And all of these other shows I'm talking about owe at least a debt of gratitude to Rod Serling and The Twilight Zone. And it got me thinking about some of the other things that I've sort of absorbed in that same format, along those same lines. I read a lot of Stephen King, and some of my absolute favorites are the short ones. Graveyard Shift, you get Nightmares and Dreamscapes, you get Everything's Eventual. Those short stories, I've noticed, always my favorites. I've read a lot of it. I've read the novels, I've read the novellas, I've read the short stories, read a lot of Stephen King, and I still gravitate back towards those short stories. The short stories are the ones that I read and reread over and over again. I think there's something in that. Either I have a really short attention span, or I'm impressed by a writer who can get in and tell his story quickly, but still with a certain amount of craft. And you don't need an 800-page epic book to get that story across, or you don't need a 3.5-hour movie to get that story across. You've got that sort of efficiency of storytelling and that ability to get that much quality entertainment into such a small space. That's impressive to me, and I eat it up. I really do. Well, that's about all the time I have for right now, guys. Leave a comment down below. Let me know if there's an anthology series I missed that you really like, and we'll get a conversation going about that. And if it's something I haven't seen yet, convince me. I'll go check it out. If it is something I have already seen, we will talk about it, because I love these shows. And that give and take is really why I'm doing this. I love talking to you guys. So let's talk some more. For now, though, stay nerdy. Because of his vision, and it